I was not punished because I hated the gods. Remember that before my name is made into rebellion alone. I knew Olympus. I knew its pride, its order, its thunder, its fear. I was punished because I looked at mankind shivering in the dark and decided the dark should not own them forever. I am Prometheus. My name means forethought. I was born among titans, older than the thrones of Olympus, older than the prayers of men who would one day call the gods by name. I saw what was coming before others understood what had already begun. When Zeus rose against Kronos, I did not stand blindly with the old order. I knew the titans had grown heavy with their own power. I knew the future was moving toward thunder. So I chose the side that would win, not because I worshipped victory, but because I understood the shape of time. But foresight is not peace. To see what is coming is to suffer before others feel the wound. It is to watch kings plant seeds of disaster while their courts applaud the harvest. It is to know that a gift can save the world and still destroy the one who gives it. When Zeus took the sky, he did not become free of fear. No ruler ever does. He had defeated his father, but he inherited the old terror of being overthrown. Olympus glittered with gold, but beneath its marble halls lived the same question that haunted every throne before it. Who will replace me? Then I looked upon mankind. Small creatures, brief creatures, soft-skinned, hungry, frightened, born into a world of cold nights, sharp teeth, and indifferent stars. They were not mighty like titans. They were not radiant like Olympians. They were fragile, and that was why I loved them. Do not laugh at fragility. The fragile thing knows the value of shelter. The hungry thing knows the value of bread. The mortal thing knows the value of a single morning. The gods had eternity, and so they wasted wonder. Man had little time, and so every spark mattered. At Mythology, the division was made between gods and mortals. A sacrifice was prepared, and I arranged the portions. In one pile, I hid rich meat beneath an unappealing hide. In another, I placed bones wrapped in shining fat. Zeus chose the shining portion. He saw the gleam and took the bones. Do not think he was a fool. Zeus knew deception when he saw it, but pride often walks into traps simply to prove it cannot be trapped. From that day, men would burn bones and fat to the gods while keeping the meat for themselves. I had given mankind a small victory at the table of sacrifice, but small victories against gods are rarely forgiven. Zeus was angered, not only because I had tricked him, but because I had reminded him that intelligence does not bow naturally to power. A king can command worship, but he cannot command the mind not to think. So Zeus withheld fire from mankind. He looked upon the shivering creatures of earth and decided darkness would teach them obedience. Let them freeze. Let them eat raw flesh. Let them fear the night. Let them remember that warmth belongs to Olympus. That was the moment I crossed the line. Not when I tricked Zeus, not when I chose mortals, but when I saw power use suffering as instruction and call it order. I knew what fire was. Fire was not only heat. Fire was the red heart of the forge, the cooked meal, the hardened clay, the lamp in the doorway, the weapon against beasts, the circle where stories could be told after sunset. Fire was the beginning of craft. Fire was memory made visible. Around it, men would gather and become more than scattered animals hiding from the dark. Around it, they would speak, plan, mourn, build, and dream. So I stole it. Some say I carried it in a hollow fennel stalk, a small hidden ember taken from the heights and brought down into mortal hands. Understand the insult. I did not steal thunder. I did not steal a throne. I carried a fragile flame, and Olympus trembled. Because Zeus knew what I knew. Give man fire and you do not merely warm his hands. You awaken his future. You teach him that the world can be changed. You place into mortal darkness the first argument against despair. The first night men held fire, they did not become gods. They became responsible. The flame asked something of them. Feed me, and I will feed you. Guard me, and I will guard you. Misuse me, and I will consume what you love. Every gift of power carries this warning. Fire can cook bread, and fire can burn the field. Fire can forge a plow, and fire can forge a sword. I gave mankind the flame, but I could not give mankind wisdom equal to its heat. Still I chose the gift. Better a dangerous light than obedient darkness. Better a mortal who may burn his hands learning than a creature kept forever cold by the mercy of kings. Zeus did not forgive me. The ruler of Olympus does not fear theft as much as example. A stolen flame can be punished, but a titan teaching mortals that gods can be defied, that is a wound to authority. So Zeus answered not only me, but mankind. He ordered Hephaestus to shape Pandora from earth and water, and the gods placed beauty upon her like a crown. Punishment did not arrive as a monster. It arrived smiling, perfumed, and gifted. She carried the jar. Within it were miseries that had not yet walked freely among mortals. Disease, toil, envy, madness, grief, and countless shadows that would cling to human life. When the jar was opened, suffering flew into the world. Men who had received fire now received sorrow. Civilization would not spare them from pain. Knowledge would not make them innocent. Progress would not return them to Eden. But hope remained. Remember that. Of all the things in the jar, hope was the strangest. Some call it mercy. Some call it another punishment. For hope comforts the suffering, but it also keeps them walking through suffering they cannot yet escape. I have had ages to consider it. Chained upon stone beneath the open sky, I have wondered whether hope is balm or bait. Yet still I say this. Without hope, fire would have died in mortal hands. Without hope, no one builds for a tomorrow he may never see. Then came my punishment. Zeus had me seized and dragged to the edge of the world, to the mountains of Caucasus, where stone meets sky and loneliness becomes a second body. There Hephaestus, unwilling but obedient, bound me in chains no hand of mine could break. Imagine it clearly. The Titan who gave fire to mankind was fastened to cold rock. The one who had lifted mortals toward warmth was left beneath the pitiless heavens. The one who defied the sky was nailed where the sky could watch him suffer. Each day, the eagle came. At first, I screamed as though the mountains might answer. Later, I learned the mountains do not answer. They only remember. Each day, wings darkened the sun. Each day, claws struck stone. Each day, the beak entered my flesh and tore at my liver while the world continued below as though agony were part of the weather. Each night, the wound healed. That was the cruelty. Death would have been mercy. The body restored itself so punishment could begin again. My suffering was not a sentence with an ending. It was a circle. Do you understand the terror of repeated pain? A single wound becomes memory. A repeated wound becomes a world. You begin to measure time not by sunrise or season, but by the return of the thing that hurts you. And yet from the rock, I watched mankind change. I saw smoke rise from villages. I saw bronze glow in furnaces. I saw bread pulled from ovens, children warmed beside hearths, and stories told in circles of light. That was the torment Zeus did not understand. I suffered, but I also witnessed the reason for my suffering. Below me, the stolen flame multiplied. One ember became 1,000 hearths. 1,000 hearths became cities. Was it worth it? Men ask this because men think sacrifice should be clean. They want the hero rewarded, the wound closed, the fire given, and the giver praised. But the world does not always honor those who make it better. Many who give the future its tools are hated by the present. Many who bring light are accused of starting fires. Many who break cruel laws are punished by those who benefited from obedience. So yes, it was worth it. Not because mankind became pure, you did not. You used fire to cook and to kill, to warm homes and burn cities, to forge plows and chains. I saw all of it, and I did not close my eyes. But I also saw mothers hold children through winter. I saw craftsmen shape beauty from metal. I saw men lift lamps against the dark and refuse to be animals of fear. I saw mortals learn that helplessness was not their only inheritance. That is why I endured. Zeus believed pain would teach me regret. He thought the eagle would eat away my defiance. But pain does not always make a soul smaller. Sometimes pain burns away every false reason, until only the true one remains. I did not suffer because mortals deserved perfection. I suffered because they deserved a chance. Love does not require the beloved to be flawless. Love only asks whether they are worth saving despite what they may become. I knew secrets too. I knew that Zeus himself was not beyond fate. I knew of a union that could bring forth a son greater than his father. Even chained, I held knowledge Olympus wanted. Even in torment, I possessed something thunder could not rip from me. That is another lesson of fire. Power can bind the body, but it cannot easily command foresight. A king may chain the one who speaks truth, but the truth remains outside the chain, waiting for its hour. Ages passed. My name became a warning and a prayer. Mortals looked at flame and did not always remember me, but remembrance was never the price I demanded. I did not steal fire so men would worship Prometheus. I stole it so men would stop worshiping darkness. Then came Heracles. He was not like men who speak of courage beside warm fires. He came bearing the weight of labors, griefs, blood, and divine hatred. In him lived both mortal suffering and God-born strength. He knew what it meant to be used by powers above him. He saw the eagle. He drew his bow, the arrow flew, and the torment that had returned for ages was struck from the sky. For the first time in countless days, the shadow did not descend. Then the chains were broken. Do not imagine freedom as music only. Freedom after long suffering is painful. The body remembers the shape of bondage. The soul does not know at once how to stand without expecting the next wound. But I was free, scarred, not restored, changed, not unbroken. There are punishments that do not end when the chain falls away. Still, the sky looked different when it no longer owned my suffering. Some say Zeus allowed my release. Some say fate required it. Some say a ring with a piece of stone remained, so that his sentence was honored in symbol. The gods love technicalities when mercy must be made to look like law. But hear me clearly. I was not freed because Olympus became kind. I was freed because even punishment grows old, when the truth it tried to bury has already shaped the world. The fire had spread. No eagle could eat it. No chain could bind it. No decree from Olympus could return mankind to the first cold night. That is why tyrants fear gifts more than weapons. A weapon can kill an enemy. A gift can awaken a people. Once a mind has known light, darkness must work harder to call itself natural. If there is fire in your hands, do not pretend it came from nowhere. Somewhere before you, someone risked the cold anger of heaven. Somewhere before you, someone carried the ember through fear, exile, punishment, or ridicule. When you lift a flame, remember that it may have passed through another's wound before it reached your hand. Every comfort around you was paid for by someone's risk, someone's refusal, someone's suffering, someone's decision not to leave the world as cold as they found it. Do not worship suffering. Pain is not holy by itself. Chains are not noble because they hurt. But when suffering is endured for a higher mercy, when a wound is carried so others may rise, then pain becomes testimony. I am Prometheus. I am the Titan who saw mankind shivering and stole the first answer from the gods. I am the thief of fire, the prisoner of the mountain, the wound that healed only to be opened again. I gave you flame, but not innocence. I gave you power, but not excuse. I gave you light and with it the burden to decide whether your hands will warm the world or burn it. Hear me when the night grows deep and the powerful tell you darkness is order. Fire was never free. Someone paid for the light you hold. Now decide what kind of world you will warm with it.